Not doing the bottle flip challenge, now doing squats. And this is nerve-wracking because I almost never talk when I'm lifting weights, but trying to multitask here. So here I go. I think we're doing 175 here on the squat, and I've got 12 reps left to go. We'll see how many I do. But the essence, why I'm feeling this while doing squats, is the idea of discipline. Why are we doing squats in the dark, you ask? We're only doing squats in the dark because we don't like track lighting. We don't like that industrial lighting. It's very depressing. So we're here late. We've been working on ideas all day, and now lifting late and just doing it in the dark because you don't really need to see. That's 2. Let's do another one. 3. Let's do another one. 4. So I got 8 more to go. And this is agonizing in a way, a little agonizing in a good way, but it's extremely important. Jerry Seinfeld's a very wise guy, and he's a wise man. I mean a wise guy, not a wise man. 5. 6. Okay, we're halfway to be done with squats. Once you're done with squats, you've got bent over rows, you got bench presses, and you got deadlifts. But really, the squats are the hardest thing because this is where things can go wrong. You know, I have a half rack. If you have a full rack, things can't really go wrong. You have a rack to catch, but nothing's ever gone really wrong. Once I did fall backwards, kind of in slow motion. 7. 8. 9. Okay. We're 3/4 of the way there, and we've been putting off this workout. So we're at the end of our tether here. End of our tether? I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it, but we're running on empty, as Jackson Brown would put it. But we got 3 more to go. 1. 2. Can you make 3? This is tough. Holy moly, okay, we're done 3. Now why on earth is that on there? Well, okay, we're cycling through ideas as I'm doing this, and it occurs to me that part of the project that I'm working on involves what a great judge, there's this great judge named Justice Sean Smith, and there's a good story about him. One time I had a client who was falsely accused, something he didn't do, and he was locked up. Crown tried to deny him bail, and Justice Smith happened to be the bail judge sitting one day, released the guy, and the guy went on to win the trial and have as close to a happily ever after as one can have in the province of Saskatchewan. And later the guy got a chance to say thank you to Justice Smith. I was there, and he said thank you. He said thank you for, it was a very kind thing you did letting me out of jail. Justice Smith was a guy with really made out of steel. Tough old guy. And he said, I didn't do it to be kind. I did it to be intellectually rigorous. So rigor and discipline have to be cornerstones of the project that we're putting together. The philosophical underpinnings being that discipline and rigor are in too short supply for the proper administration of law. So that gets me to a breakthrough that I think I've made while I've been working on this with respect to the Mills issue. The thing that was really hurting with me was the inescapable conclusion that if Arthur Investigations is right about where this particular investigation is going with Justice Mills, what he did was against the law. And does that mean that I'm advocating for the destruction of somebody's life, the imprisonment of somebody? I just don't feel that that's part of our message. Maybe we are at Arthur Investigations more like the detective, more like a Batman, more like a Dark Knight, whose job it is to detect the crime and investigate the crime and solve the crime, but leave the deliver the criminal off to somebody else and leave the punishment to someone else. And I think that's right. So then how do we frame that application? Because I'm planning on making this splash of a court application. I think I'm going to have to do some bent over rows and keep going. Usually I don't go this hard. I take long walks. I pace around. But keeping with the theme of this video, I think I got to do some bent over rows. So we'll see if I can do that without knocking the camera over. Now this is a little weird because it has to go up over my head and then down. And I do the bent over rows. And I always get really out of breath after I do this. Let's see how this sucker goes. Oh, okay, never goes wrong. It never goes wrong when you're going over the head this way. I used to go over the head the other way. Before I had a squat rack, I used to have to go over my head the other way. But it's just a little oopsie daisy, just a little up and over. See, nothing to it. And then we do 12 of these. So instead of framing the application as like a Dirty Harry kind of, do you feel lucky punk? Dirty Harry was the guy in those awful Reagan era 80s movies who dispensed justice with his, what was his stupid Magnum. Those movies were so dumb. I'm sorry, Arthur Investigations. Well, the entertainment division doesn't. We're not pro Dirty Harry. So I'm thinking the way to frame the application in the Mills matter is more on a freedom of expression ground, and not what you would think. I mean, usually a freedom of expression application says, we need access to court records so we can put it in the newspaper, or we need access so we can put it on our weblog. But on the same principle, I think we bring the application for the court's tape of the bogus court application before Justice Mills on the honest basis that we need to preserve that for future generations as an example of the nadir of Western law. It fell and it fell and it fell and it fell and it fell until it hit absolute rock bottom, wha-bang, with Justice Mills's disgusting and pathetic effort on December 19th, 2023. Because I don't want to come out like I'm Dirty Harry trying to get people punished or locked up. That's really not what we're about. We're about rigor and discipline. So I guess I'm going to do 12 more of these. I'm doing a vlog while lifting weights, and it's making weights go a heck of a lot quicker than they normally do. Can we do another 12? Holy moly. And real weightlifters. I'm just a self-taught kind of moron at weightlifting. I don't know what I'm doing. But real weightlifters are going, your form's all awful. You're going up and down. You're supposed to stay stock still. So you isolate those muscles. But it hurts like hell the way I do it too. I'm sure it hurts more like hell the way the guys do it properly. Oh, it's just like that. We're almost 50% done. We're flying through this. So it's a bit of a cheeky application. You apply just based on the open court principle. And I've been doing legal research all day. There's a lot of really beautiful language. Back when legal language was really beautiful, it wasn't so dry and technical, about the open court principle and how it's the very beating heart of English law. So I like that idea a heck of a lot more. Than the idea of calling for somebody to be locked up in jail. Not that that would be the absolute worst thing, but he who lives by the sword dies by the sword. And I've recently been locked up against my will, and it's no fun, because they don't have weights and they don't have pianos. And where I was locked up, they listened to top 40 music from the 90s.